Have you heard of the Richter scale? What does it mean when an earthquake is 7.5 compared to an earthquake that's 6.5? 7.5 is stronger. How much stronger? A lot stronger. How much is a lot stronger? A lot times 2. No. Okay. So when things have a large range of values, so a Richter scale can measure a large range of values. Instead of having those numbers in that large range, they use a logarithmic scale. And what that logarithmic scale does is every time that you increase something by 1, okay, so the Richter scale is measuring earthquakes, and each increase of 1 unit means that it's 10 times more intense. So a 7.5 on a Richter scale is 10 times more intense than a 6.5. And an 8.5 is 10 times more intense than a 7.5, means that an 8.5 is 100 times more intense than a 6.5. And an 8.5 would be 1,000 times more intense than a 5.5. Because each time you go up by 1, it's 10 times more. So here they show the earthquake on March 2011 with a magnitude of 9. That is 100 times as intense as an earthquake of 7. So here is a formula for magnitude. The magnitude is a logarithm of the intensity compared to a standard earthquake. So now when we go to this first example, so we're looking at the most intense earthquake ever was recorded in Chile of a 9.5. So for part A, we can use that formula that, and again, if they asked this question, they would give you this formula. Calculate the intensity in terms of a standard earthquake. So we've seen this before. We've seen questions that said in terms of A and B, in terms of X. Anytime a question has in terms of something, that means there's going to be that variable in your answer. So in terms of a standard earthquake, that's your S. Our answer is going to have an S in it somehow. But we need our equation I equals something something S something something something. That's the idea of what in terms of means. So we need to get intensity by itself because it says calculate that. And we won't be able to put in a number for S because it said in terms of S. So as far as what we know that the magnitude was 9.5. We want to solve for I. Where is I? I is inside of a logarithm. So we have solved equations where x was in the exponent, and when x is in the exponent, we could either take the log of both sides, or we could try to change the basis to be the same. We've also solved questions where x was inside of a logarithm. There, our goal was to write it as a single logarithm and then change it to its exponential form. That's what we have here. It's already a single logarithm. So the step that everybody forgets after you've got a single logarithm is how to change it to exponential form. How do I change this to exponential form? 9.5 is the exponent. The base is 10. The answer is I over s. So to solve for I, we would multiply both sides by s, 10 to the power 9.5 times s. And so the intensity is 10 to the power 9.5 more than what it considered the standard measurement is. And if you wrote that as a number, it's huge. It's a very, very big number. And that's why it's gone to a logarithmic scale. Part B. How many times as intense was the Haiti earthquake? The Haiti earthquake was how much? A 7? How many times as intense was the Haiti earthquake compared to the Chile earthquake? So for part B here, Haiti was a 7, Japan was a 9, or Chile was a 9.5. This means that it has gone up 2.5. For every 1 that it goes up, it's 10 times more intense. So since it's gone up by 2.5, it's going to be 10 to the 2.5 times more intense. Does that make sense? Because if it went up 2, it'd be 10 squared. If it went up 3, it'd be 10 cubed. So we figure out what 10 to the power 2.5 is with our calculator. $316.2. Now, one of the ways that you could show this using the formula is, can you see that the intensity, we already figured out the intensity of Chile's was 10 to the 9.5 s. If you did the similar thing for Haiti, does it make sense that you would get 10 to the 7 times s? And if you were going to compare them, you would take this one, intensity of Chile, which is the bigger one, divided by the intensity of Haiti, which is 10 to the 9.5 s over 10 to the 7 s. What's going to happen to your s's? They're going to cancel out. What exponent rule do you use when you divide? You minus. So you get 10 to the 2.5. Okay? That's used in your formula. Although most people learn that a logarithmic scale means every increase of 1 is 10 times more. So if we increase twice, it's 10 squared. Here we increased by 2.5, so it's 10 to the 2.5. And most people show just that we've gone up by 2.5 and go directly to 10 to the 2.5. Even though the formula would be given in a question like this, it's okay to show that you understand it this way. You wouldn't need to use your formulas. Okay, questions for this one. 4, 5, 9, 10, and 11.